Hey everyone, Magaman here, about to discuss the three main problems with the Black Lives Matter movement. Just gonna hop right into it. Number one, divisive. It is an inherently divisive group, both in their micro level, as an activist protest group, and the macro level, as in terms of the role that they play in our modern society. And an example of the micro level would be just the fact that there's conflict within the group, right? Some are being violent and some are extremely opposed to it. Some would rather engage in civilized dialogue. That is an internal division of a group. And the macro level would be sort of, I mean, the role that they play in our society, how they are dividing people based on the color of skin. The movement focuses on an inherent genetic trait that we humans have no control of. I have no control of my skin color. Didn't choose to be brown. My neighbor didn't choose to be white. My friends didn't choose to be black. People don't have control over this stuff. Yet the Black Lives Matters movement has expectations. They expect people that fit into these categories that they have no control over to act a certain way, to promote certain ideas, certain values. In a sense, preconceived notions of people based on the color of their skin. It's simply inherently divisive. So that's the first problem, and to me, the main problem. It's inherently divisive. Second problem is it's unorganized. It's an unorganized group. They don't have a leader. They don't have an organized method of creating change. They're simply a movement of expression. So the Black Lives Matter movement wants to create awareness, and they do it by expressing themselves. And the problem with expression is that people express themselves in different ways. Again, some people via civilized discourse, and others through violence and killing cops. It's that simple. And some are in the middle, some are more to the right, some are more to the left. That's the definition of unorganized. They are not an organized group. And again, both in the micro and macro level. And to me, organization is important because if you're unorganized, it simply leads to division. And the main problem, division. That's all they're doing. And being unorganized just creates more of it. And we're at a state in America where I honestly just believe that we need unity. People need to unite because there's bigger problems out there. But the Black Lives Matter movement is just doing the opposite right now. They're just dividing people, creating unnecessary conflict between people. To be completely honest, that's how I feel. And I'll take it a step further by saying that Martin Luther King, the greatest leader of all time and by far the most successful warrior for change, would be very upset with what's going on right now. People like Martin Luther King because he took a logical and peaceful approach. I'm not sure what Black Lives Matter is up to. They are unorganized. So, that's number two. And last but not least, number three, definitely not least, very important, is that the Black Lives Matter movement strengthens the democratic agenda. And that agenda is globalism. And you reach that goal by maintaining conflict and keeping people divided. Again, divided. And that's kind of the key word here is division. Because that is the main problem, is that they are a divisive group. And, if you haven't really explored this idea, I do encourage you to do some research because you might be wondering, like, ooh, he's talking about the Democratic Party. MAGA man himself has an agenda already to promote republicanism or whatever. And that's not true, I have been a Democrat my entire life until recently when I really started doing research and found out some of the history behind the party and what they're really up to. Let me tell you, it's no good. And the sad part is that the Democratic Party is fooling a lot of people into supporting them by using friendly rhetoric that appeals to emotion and by making promises that, to the innocent eye, it seem helpful. The people perceive some of the things that the Democratic Party says as helpful, mostly because of the friendly language that's being used, in my completely opinion. Like, that's just how I feel. And it's purely an evil tactic. So, um, I'm getting a little off track, but that's kind of my point, that if you're new to this idea, I hope you can do a little more research instead of automatically dismissing me as crazy by what I'm saying about the Democratic Party and that the Black Lives Matters movement is strengthening the agenda of globalism. It's kind of true, and there's evidence out there to support that. There's this quote that I really like from Adam Kokesh. He's a YouTuber, and it's like, he says, "I don't fault you for being lied to, but it's cowardly to ignore the truth when it's right in front of you." So, maybe the fact that I just kind of spilled something out that you might perceive as radical, it could be the truth. So I definitely encourage you to go out there and do a little more research about this. Because with a little research, you'll be able to find that the Black Lives Matter movement is funded by the Democratic Party because it's helping them keep people divided, because keeping people divided helps their agenda. So, anyways, keep this idea that some of you may seem as radical or crazy or whatever. Keep it in mind next time that you have some free time to browse the net and do some research. It's actually a very concerning problem, for the future of humanity. And believe it or not, this movement and its ties to the Democratic Party, it could just be very catastrophic. And again, it just could be a huge problem for the future of humanity. So that's kind of that. To wrap things up, the three main problems with the Black Lives Matter movement: 1, it's divisive; 2, it's unorganized; and 3, it strengthens the Democratic agenda. It's funded by the Democrats, and that should be somewhat concerning already, because the Democratic Party is the wealthiest and strongest. So anyways, I didn't really come up with these, obviously. This is all stuff that's out there. In fact, there are many, many, many more problems that the Black Lives Matter movement has, but these are the 3 that I chose that I felt like were the most problematic. So take some time to think about it. Feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe, tell me why you disagree with me, call me a racist, whatever, because I'm really not, and I care about people, and I want the best for the future of my kids and humanity in general, and I think everybody wants that. Till next time, this is MAGA Man. Peace.